All right. Hi, my name's Mark Oskowitz from Tri-Gable Leaf Farm. We've got a young peach tree here. My memory's kind of failing me here. I think that this was planted 2 years ago, and so that would make this the winter after the second years of growth. It was likely a 2-year-old tree. Altogether, it's about 4 years old or so. Might be 5. So after the first year of pruning is no big deal. You're trying to encourage some lateral growth, kind of stop the head from growing on these peach trees. So peaches in general have a shorter lifespan because they're just such vigorous growers, and so they're also heavy producers. And what ends up happening a lot of times is if you're not kind of on top of the pruning, by the time it fruits, after maybe it's third or fourth year planted in the ground at your house, it's one of those things where it can get so heavy with fruit that you start losing limbs. And I've definitely had that happen with some of the older peaches here on the property. I've learned from mistakes with that. So what am I really going for here? This one has a nice structure to it. You can see that this one's a pretty easy one to get in and climb in and pick peaches. Whoop, there we go. Yeah, well that's fine. I'm going for that open vase structure. So with this, I'll keep the camera low. I've got 2 tools that I'm going to be using for this. All the limbs are pretty small, all the things that I'm going to be taking off. Most of them I'm going to be able to get with my hand pruners. And every now and then I'm going to switch to a little handsaw, a little folding handsaw that I keep in my back pocket. I like using this versus bigger loppers. Down here on the ground, whenever possible, I like doing this because I can get a nice cleaner cut. I think early on I just never had one of these, and so I didn't rely on it. So what am I going to be doing? Again, in these early years, you're going to see that with these trees, I tend to do a lot of heavy pruning to encourage horizontal growth. And so what we're doing here is an open center pruning. Okay, so it's not like the pears or the apples where I have a central leader or modified central leader. With this, in here, I'm getting rid of anything in the center. In organic gardening, with your stone fruits, your peaches, nectarines, plums, even almonds and cherries, you tend to get a lot of fungal rot when you have moisture that's allowed to stay on the leaves. Think about every night it gets cold and moisture dew forms on the fruit, on the leaves and everything. And in the early stages, it's not that bad, but once the fruit has some sugars on it that the fungi can really get in there, it becomes an issue. So that's why that's the reason why you'll see the advice to do an open center or a vase shape. And so really what we're trying to do is get 3 or 4 main trunks that will continue to be, and to have them kind of evenly spaced and everything. Ideally, we're also trying to avoid having steep angles like this. Like I would favor the angle, I would favor a more opened up angle than a very acute angle. Both of these are acute angles, but the closer to a right angle that we can get, the better. You don't want to go past the right angle, and get an obtuse angle. That's not going to result. So something closer to a right angle is going to result in a limb that will better support fruit in the future. Yeah, so I'm going to let this run. It's going to go a little long because I'm just going to go through it and start pruning. So right away I'm seeing my three limbs that I'm going to want to keep. I'm following up the trunk here, and I'm seeing either this one or this one has good angles and is in this direction of the tree growth for the plant, I'm going to favor this one here and continue growing with, actually no, no, I like the shape of this one because I like that I can cut that off and continue horizontal growth there. So that's going to help me make my decision to get rid of this right here. They are overlapping limbs and thus redundant. I also have my lawnmower that I drive by and everything, so by the time this gets to where the lawnmower is, I kind of want these all to tear up and out and be above the lawnmower. That one has a narrow crotch that's not going to support fruit. It's also, you know, I've also made the decision to keep this one. I'm going to make the decision to keep this trunk here, and on this side to keep this one. Those are big decisions. The rest of this stuff is going to go. This whole part that's growing into the center is going to go. Okay. Nope. That one's too low for my lawnmower, so I'm making the choice to get rid of it. But by the time we get here, there we go. I don't want to damage the wood here, so I'm going to use loppers for that one later. And choices here. Okay, and we're pretty much there. Now that's heavy pruning, okay? So I'm not really concerned about getting rid of things that are, that could lower my yield of fruiting right now. It's too early for that. I am, you know, I'm looking at the overall structure and setting this up for success so that when it does bear hundreds of pounds of fruit, it'll be able to hold it. You know, and so you also see me make decisions about maybe going a little more vertical here than I would normally do, but that's because of like my lawnmower and driving around. And from past experience, knowing that there's going to be, here, I'll stand under this one. There's gonna be a vertical limit, you know, or a vertical minimum that I'm gonna want to have so that I can pass and drive under here with my rider mower. Yeah, so we've got three main I could have left 4, but I decided on 3 with this one. 3 main future trunks, well, future limbs for this to support it. All right, thanks.